Yo, what up guys, welcome back to Patch.
Welcome back.
Yes, and today we're going to be reviewing the Razer Deathadder V2 Pro.
Very
guys.
cool.
Yeah, so Razer's been doing this, so they've been going back to their mouse lineup and putting Pro on all of them, which means they're making it wireless and it is awesome. Well, that's like the new thing, I guess like a year ago the new thing was to put holes in it and make the mice as light as possible,
and a paracord,
and of course the paracord, and I guess the PTFE feet as well. But now the new wave is making your mouse wireless, and Razer's been on that. So I mean, wireless technology is great. If your mouse is not connected to anything, it's awesome. You know? So
it's great, and plus if you can connect it to Bluetooth like this guy can, you can connect it to more than one computer. So if you're a streamer, you got two PCs, streaming PC, gaming PC, you can connect it to both. Or just multiple devices.
Exactly. And this mouse is going for 130 bucks. It is a little pricey, but all the wireless mice on the market right now are going for a pretty hefty price.
Yeah, about 150 usually is what you'd expect. And this one doesn't actually come with the wireless charging dock. However, it is compatible with it, so if you already have one from the Viper Ultimate or you purchase one separately, you can do that as well.
Yes, the gold pins are right there, which is pretty cool.
So because it's wireless, we've actually got 3 modes of connection, all right? So we've got your wired connection, and we've got a special little dongle here. I'll go over that in a minute. Your wired connection where you just hook up the micro USB underneath and just hook that into the mouse. Now this guy right here basically is for you to plug your wireless adapter into this, and then you plug the other end, the micro USB, into this guy. We've explained this before on the channel. This is a means for you to just leave this on the desk. That way when you need to charge it, you just pop this guy out, charge your mouse up, and then you're good to go.
Yes.
And now this guy does get 70 hours of battery, which is the 2.4 gigahertz channel. And on Bluetooth, you can get up to 150 hours of battery life. So it's crazy.
That is crazy.
My G Pro Wireless was getting around like 70 or so with the RGB off. And I really never worried about it. So I mean, with this guy, I would imagine it's the same, and it charges super fast too.
Yes, exactly. All right, so going over the shape, if you've ever tried the Deathadder, it's the exact same shape, and it's an ergonomic shape. So if you guys like ergos, then this is a great option. Obviously for me, it's not great because I have a smaller size hand, and the Deathadder is actually a very, very large mouse. So to me personally, I mean, I don't palm grip. I mean, palm gripping it is pretty comfortable, and when I'm just like browsing the web or whatever, it's not bad, but I feel like it's a little too large for my hand. And when I'm playing, and primarily I fingertip grip when I play games, it's not bad, but obviously I would prefer like a lower profile ambidextrous shape as opposed to like this ergonomic shape, because ergos, like on the left side, as you guys can see, it like protrudes up and then like kind of and then kind of slopes down. So it's more comfortable obviously if you're palming it, but when you're fingertipping it, for me personally, it's not as comfortable.
Yeah, so for those of you who are on the verge, or you're just now hearing about the Deathadder for the first time because you've been living under a rock, the Deathadder is one of the most popular gaming mice. Just the series as a whole is one of the most popular gaming mice of all time, really. Everyone really knows this name. And this is their wireless iteration of it. So if you've never heard of this before, it's a fat ergonomic mouse. It's very big, very large, very comfortable, and it's been, it's tried and true throughout the ages. A lot of people love this mouse. And if you're a palm grip user, this is something you'll love. Now, I've got pretty large hands, so I can manage to fingertip this guy fairly comfortably, but because it's a little on the heavier side for me personally, fingertipping it with a mouse that's this weight is just not comfortable. Plus, it's just so large that it just feels weird to move around.
For me, what I think is happening for Lucas is that, I mean, 88 grams isn't too heavy, but I just think it's just so large that it's a little bit more uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's bulky, so it's like my fingers are spread out more on top of the extra weight that I'm having to shift around. I remember I switched back to my Hot ES for a little bit, and 800 DPI felt so fast on the Hot ES versus this, even though I was using the same DPI on both.
Yeah.
So it's just a larger mouse, so it's something you'd have to get used to for sure. Palming this guy, I had no issues though. It was super comfortable to palm grip. It's tried and true. I mean, the shape works phenomenally for palm.
Yeah, and palm, large size, you should be fine. Medium sized hands, you should be okay. It's a little uncomfortable, like I said, for me. In small size hand, you should stay away from it unless you want to like go like this or something, you know. Also, another cool thing about this mouse is that there are rubber side grips on both sides of the mouse, so that feels great. It gives you a little bit more extra grip. Alright, as far as the skates go, they're using pure PTFE feet. It's basically the same as the Viper Ultimate, and basically all of their mice that have been coming out have the same feet. It feels great. It's fast, it's rounded on the edges. So you got two up front, one large one on the bottom, and then one surrounding the sensor.
As far as the sensor goes in this guy, Razer's using the Focus Plus sensor. I mean, we've seen this in a lot of their other mice. It's very fast, very accurate, very precise. It's a sensor we all, we know and love from their wireless lineup, and it feels very responsive. No qualms there from either of us, really.
And it goes all the way up to 20K DPI.
Oh yeah, for your speed racers out there.
If you're on a 100K monitor, I think that route.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. If you've got 4 8K screens, you go to 20,000 DPI.
Exactly. As far as the cord goes, obviously this is a wireless mouse, so there is no cord, which is great. But if your battery runs out and you need to charge your mouse, I mean, it takes like 10 minutes to charge up like a good amount, so you can just keep playing wirelessly if you want. But if you don't want to do that and you want to charge up the mouse while you're playing, you can do that. And the cable's pretty damn nice.
Yeah, it's a nice cable. Like, I didn't have any issues playing with the cable on there. It just feels like a regular wired gaming mouse. But of course it's paracorded, so it feels a little bit nicer than obviously the rubber wire.
Also, another cool thing that's on the bottom of the mouse is that there is a little storage compartment for your wireless receiver. So I guess if you're like traveling or something, you can store that. I mean, sometimes when you're not using the mouse, you want some place to store this, and you don't want to lose it, obviously. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Alright, as far as the buttons go, so Razer is using their improved optical switch. It's their 2nd generation, and to be honest, I really never noticed any type of like latency in my clicks ever. So I don't really notice any type of like improvement, but that's just me. I'm just a noob, I guess, but
yeah, I'm sure like if you took like one of those crazy expensive Red cameras up to their monitor and you were doing like tests with like, with all the variables accounted for and everything, you'd probably notice a difference. Honestly, I mean, the switches feel very, very responsive. They feel great, and they're advertising a 0.2 millisecond response time on there, or latency, which is phenomenal. So on paper, it looks great, and it feels great too. I just can't say it feels like anything more than like a regular, gaming mouse.
Exactly, and it's rated for 70 million clicks, which is great, as compared to like, I guess the Model O, which are using like on-run switches that's rated for like 20 million clicks. So, all right, and as far as the actual like mouse 1 and 2 clicks, it feels like any other Razer mouse, and it feels pretty damn mushy in my opinion. And I've been using like the XM1 and the FK2, which have very, very hard and sturdy clicks, and that's just what I prefer. If you've used any other Razer mouse and you like the clicks on that one, then you shouldn't have any problems with this one.
One thing I would like to see Razer try is, I know they love their kill switches on their keyboards. Now I would love to see some kill switches on this mouse, like the Endgame XM1 RGB has.
Yes.
That would be pretty sick. I want to see some of those on a Razer mouse. I think they would be killing it with those.
Yes, and
minor tweak obviously, but
there's not a lot of post-travel or pre-travel. It's just like the actual click that feels kind of mushy, which is interesting, right?
Yeah.
The side buttons feel great though. The actual click feels very tactile and pretty damn hard, but then there's a lot of post-travel and pre-travel, which is pretty normal for side buttons on any game mouse, so it's not a huge deal. And obviously you're not going to accidentally click them, which is a good thing. And I guess they are pretty high up from the table, so you kind of have to like bring your thumb up to actually press the side buttons.
It's good.
Yeah.
No accidental presses, I suppose. And on the top, of course, you've got the scroll wheel with very, very, very tactile steps.
Yes.
And then below that, you've got your DPI buttons, these are pre-bound to adjusting your DPI up and down. Of course, you can rebind those as well. On the bottom, you've got your options here, so you can go off in the middle, which I kind of wish off was all the way up or all the way down. Because in the middle is sometimes like, when I'm shutting down everything at night, it's just like I have to hit it off exactly. Minor thing,
okay.
But like, but if you switch it up, you're on Bluetooth, and then if you switch it all the way down, you're on the 2.4 gigahertz channel, which is your wireless dongle. There's a button on here for 5 different profiles that you can adjust. So if you need a different profile for different games you're playing, or just for desktop video editing, things like that, you have all of those options on board, which is just really nice. Again, you don't need Synapse with this, but it's advised, of course, if you want to change the RGB or you want to assign macros and things like that. I definitely recommend using Synapse for that.
The RGB on this mouse is awesome. You have just the logo. And your hand covers it most of the time. So personally, I just turn it off. And you get more battery life, so
yeah,
sure. Not a huge deal there. As far as the actual finish goes, it's basically the same as like any other Razer mouse, like the Viper, Viper Ultimate, Viper Mini, all that. Has kind of like a rougher texture to it. To me personally, it makes it look a little bit cheaper as opposed to like a finish from like a Logitech mouse, like the G Pro wireless. But it feels awesome. It's grippy. There's also not a lot of like fingerprint marks or oil marks or anything, actually at all. I don't see
it really doesn't show anything. I mean, it's got that typical on the top, on the chassis on the top here. We've got, that typical, like, pretty much trademarked at this point, you know, that Razer sandblasted sort of textured finish on there. And it feels great. Yeah, it feels great. I'd even argue that it looks great. I like the look of it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as the build quality goes, the mouse 1 and 2 buttons do wobble just a little bit, but that's only if you're like really trying to wobble it.
Yeah.
When you're clicking and just playing, you don't really feel too much. And I also really like the concave shape on mouse 1 and 2 buttons. You know, kind of like hugs your fingers, so you know where to place your fingers when you're playing.
For sure. That concave shape is actually super helpful. It's just super ergonomic. Like all around the board, you're getting a really nice mouse. It just feels really good to hold in the hand for a palm grip. I love it.
All right, so wrapping things up. So obviously, if you've used the Razer Deathadder V2 and you want a wireless version, this is a must cop. Personally for me, it's not my type of mouse as far as like the shape goes. I really love the Viper Ultimate, but like I said, if you're familiar with this shape and you really like it and you want a wireless version, then definitely get it.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. The shape is very, very comfortable. Everything in here is up to date. So if you're a fan of the Deathadder shape, you're gonna love this mouse, especially if you're into wireless mice. And if you're on the verge of wireless and you're worried about latency and things like that, I urge you to give this guy a shot. It's really good. It's really worth the money. And for a wireless mouse, it's actually like, what, 20, 30 bucks less than normal. I urge everyone to give it a shot. If you love the Deathadder shape, you're gonna love this for sure.
Yeah, and as far as the weight goes, this is, like I said, a very, very large mouse. But it's not too heavy, you know, 88 grams, 89 grams. If you're like a stickler for weight, then it's gonna be like super heavy.
Yeah, it's also bulkier too. It's just wider.
Exactly, exactly. And like fills your hand up really, really well. But for me personally, it's not that heavy. Like 80, 90 grams is perfect for me, and lighter is okay. I don't really care too much if it's lighter or not, as long as it's not like in the hundreds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so obviously if you're into lighter mice, then stay away from it. But if you don't care about that and you like the larger size, then this is a great option. So anyways, if you guys do want to get this mouse, we'll leave a link in the description box. But that's our review. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See you in the next one.